Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we are talking about Trolls World Tour, or Trolls 2. And this film couldn't have come out in a more interesting time. Both potentially good and bad, most likely bad. So as we all know, there's the virus going on, and movie theaters have been on the receiving end as far as like losing money goes. Some of these movie theater companies might go out of business. They might go bankrupt. I know that AMC is just hanging by a thread. They weren't doing so well beforehand, so it's a bit of an experiment to see how this goes for Trolls World Tour, because it's being shown online. That's like one of the most interesting things about this film, is that it was removed from theaters. It was going to be in movie theaters, but instead they're like, nah, let's just put it online and let folks buy it online through Amazon Prime, or, well, not on Amazon Prime, but as in like you can buy it through Amazon, you can rent it there. You could get it through video on demand. And the price to watch this movie online is $20, and you get to rent it for 48 hours. And let me tell you, the reviews on Amazon for that are not happy. You've got folks who are like, this is outrageous. I can't believe I'm paying $20 just to rent something for 48 hours. And here's the thing. This is why it's so complicated, is that it varies on the family. It varies on the people who are watching this movie at their home. For someone like me, it's a ripoff. $20 to rent something for one person to watch at home, that sucks. But if you got a large family, 2 parents and 2 kids, $20 for all 4 of them, you're saving money compared to going to the theater, and also saving money when it comes to snacks, like by a long shot. So it all depends on your circumstance and who's watching the film. So that all being said, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Will it be a smashing success for Trolls? Who knows? Will it be a massive failure? Who knows? I hope we get actual accurate numbers. This could potentially be revolutionary. If it does, wonderful. It's possible that these movies moving forward in the future go, what's the point of theaters? Let's just go right to video on demand. We make more money sending it straight to the person's home instead of doing a theater thing. So it's complicated again. It's complicated, and it will require experiments, data gathering, analytics as far as how the numbers perform. I could imagine that DreamWorks and Comcast and Universal and all those big companies who are part of the Trolls franchise, they're probably saying, we can't stop right now. We can't. We've got merchandise ready to roll. We'll make money from the toys, most likely. Let's just go and get the movie out. We can't wait any longer. And if anything, it's an experiment. And if we fail, we can write it off in our taxes. So quite the time to be alive, right, guys? We're living through a historical moment right now. 100 years from now, folks will look back on this and say, wow, Trolls World Tour came out on video. So let's talk about the movie itself. Just a quick reminder, this is a sequel. The first film came out, I believe, in 2016, and I thought it was okay. You've got, of course, the troll toys that this is based on, but DreamWorks took that concept and ran with it. They made them better looking. They look much better compared to the toys. Colorful. I love the textures. I love the particle effects in the film. They had fun with it. Now, was the movie fantastic? No, it wasn't mind-blowing. It wasn't compelling. It wasn't making me cry or feel or really care about the characters. It was just a jukebox musical film with some trolls and some popular songs and voice actors, and that was about it. And the story was pretty basic. Now, this time around for the sequel, when I saw the trailer, I was excited. They were talking in the trailer about, oh, the trolls, there's more than just our kingdom of pop. There's one for techno, there's one for country, there's one for funk, and rock and roll, and classic, and there's a bunch of smaller branches in between. And that was interesting. I've always loved the concept of a movie or a show or a book or something that is like, our kingdom is based on a genre of music. And to see Trolls 2 take that concept and run with it, I was like, whoa, they're the ones who are gonna do this concept? Well, it could work. Let's see what they do with it. So a summary, a synopsis, if you will, for Trolls World Tour is the following. It's the sequel. We discover that there is multiple kingdoms of trolls with their own respective music genre that reflects their culture. There's pop, funk, rock, classic, and country, and techno, as I said before. There's also these strings for each kingdom that represents the music of each culture, and that if all the strings are taken together, that it can be used to devastating effects and wipe out all of music, which is what Barb, the main antagonist of the film, is trying to do. She's from the rock and roll kingdom. She wants all of the strings. She wants to make the entire world of trolls rock and roll, because to her, that's the best music genre out there. And let me just say, how exciting is it that we get to see rock and roll on the big screen? Because the last time I recall even seeing anything rock and roll related was Guitar Hero and Rock Band or Imagine Dragons, so it's been a while. It was nice seeing rock and roll songs on the big screen. They're playing like Hurricane, Barracuda, and I was like, yeah, I miss these songs. These are good songs. It's good to see them get some kind of representation in 2020. It's only been like 1 year. What a year it's been. But still, it's like, oh yeah, rock and roll, that exists. Branch and Poppy go off on a quest to try and talk to Barb, convince her that we can all live in Kumbaya, and we follow them on their adventure to see what happens. There are other small groups of characters that go off on their own quest. I like that. It kind of breaks things down, because last time it was one giant group, and I felt that that was too much, and there were too many characters for one single adventure. Who do you think you are, Fellowship of the Ring? But overall, to summarize the synopsis, you have this adventure of these multiple kingdoms, different types of music, rubbing shoulders, talking to each other, showing each kingdom what the other kingdom has to offer, what their culture's about. And I enjoyed that. That was fun. And I won't reveal any spoilers, of course. But yeah, I thought Barb was a fun antagonist. She was the best part of the movie. And there was even a thing at the end that felt like it was from Infinity War, like post Thanos snap. I couldn't help but laugh at how much the similarities were. Like, there were similarities between the post Thanos snap, and also each string kind of reminds me of the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stone. So there's that as well. That made me laugh. All right, so what did I like about this movie for the story? I loved the world building. Oh my God, it was so much fun. This film is superior alone to the first because of how they expand the world, how they set the different kingdoms across this map where it's like, here's the funk and rock and so on and so forth. That was cool. It was cool to see how there are biological differences between the trolls and their music and their culture. Funny enough, it kind of reminded me of Pikmin, of all things, how there are different types of Pikmin, the flower kind, the big purple kind, the rock kind, the red kind. And I'm like, oh, it's the same thing with the trolls, except it's their music and their culture. But physiologically speaking, I think that's the right word, there are differences in their bodies as well. Like you have the underwater techno trolls, and you've got the cowboy, like centaur-looking trolls. That was neat. I like those designs. I liked how those designs help the story and to tell the story and set the setting of the world. And of course, this movie is all about music. That is the main course, music. And there are good songs in this film. I found myself tapping my toe and humming along. Good music, good covers, better ingredients, Papa John's. But I digress. The music was good. It's like, again, the main point of the film. It focuses on music. And they did a good job of elevating the story by taking these different genres of music, letting different tribes and kingdoms of trolls represent those genres of music. That was cool. I love that. That was the best part of the film, hands down for me. Again, I like Barb. She's the main antagonist. Good energy, fun, kind of this chaotic nature about her, which works for the rock and roll genre that she's from. I liked her voice actor. I forget her name at the moment, but my friend Paleo told me it was actually one of the voice actors from an episode of My Little Pony. So I was like, oh, you're gonna go from Pony to Trolls. We're hitting up all the toy franchises, apparently. And again, I liked how this time around we focused on smaller groups of the characters. They splintered off, and I like that focus. It makes it easier to follow, makes it more engaging for the characters that we do have. When it was one giant group before in the first film, it was just too much. I'm like, who are these people? They're not even saying anything. Why are they here? Oh, I know why they're here. Merchandise. But now in this film, it's like you got the funk troll from the Pop Kingdom who goes off on his own adventure to go find his family. You've got the main characters of Poppy and Branch, plus I think his name is Biggie, goes along with them. It felt more engaging and intimate. And it's not like I'm having a mind-blowing adventure where it's like, wow, these characters are incredible. We got Lord of the Rings level characters here with their writing and how compelling they are. It's not that. It's not that incredible by a long shot, but it makes it more interesting when you have fewer characters to focus on, because before it was just overloaded with characters and I was like, this is too much. Let's talk about the animation and what I like about that. This film has so much fun building its world. Again, from a storytelling point of view with the cultures, and then also when it comes down to the aesthetics and textures of the world. You've got quilts in the country trolls land. You've got like fabrics and the way the textures are represented through glitter and strings and ribbon. That's neat. This world feels like you're in a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby or some kind of fabric store, and that store's cloth and the different kinds of fabric make up the world of trolls. That was neat. I think that's really creative. And it gives it a stylized look. And they didn't have to do that. They did not have to do that. They could have phoned it in with just typical dirt and trees and water. But no, they had fun building the world, and also to take those different types of fabric and textures and have it reflect the different kingdoms as well, where like the rock and roll kingdom is lava. And according to a friend of mine who noticed this, he's like, oh yeah, the ground is made of leather. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I didn't notice that, but I could see that because I was too busy noticing the quilts and the country land. The techno world had the lights and the pulsing of the kind of like with their hearts and their bodies. There's a level of creativity with the stylized approach to this that syncs up with the storytelling and the world building, and it's good. I like it a lot. Well done. There are flashbacks, by the way, that feature mixed media, where you have like a tiger. You've got even an actual human being in this film for a moment. You've got the flute character from the classical music kingdom, and the frame rate is slower compared to the actual trolls. I thought it was stop motion for a second, but it looks like it's still computer animated, but just has a lower frame rate, which made it look stylized. I thought that was neat. So this film, once more, on a visual level, has fun. They get creative, they try different things, and they own this style with their movie. It is appreciated that they went the extra mile, so visually, it's fun to look at. Very colorful, and can kind of overload your senses at times, but for the most part, it's good. I mean, the visuals alone make it worth watching if you're a fan of animation, just to see what they do with their animation. Now, what I did not like, let's talk about that. For the story, we'll start off with that. So Poppy was not as interesting this time around. Actually, if anything, she was a bit annoying. She had tunnel vision, which I get, that's part of her story arc, is how Poppy needs to listen to other people, is way too focused on a single thing, and refuses to listen to advice from other folks, especially loved ones like her father and Branch. That was frustrating, not in a good way, because there are characters who are tunnel vision, and you can tell a good story with how focused they are on a single thing. Here, it felt a bit out of character. Like, Poppy, you usually are a good listener. You're way too just stuck on this, and that to me wasn't as much fun. Branch himself, his entire thing was, how do I tell Poppy that I love her? Which I'm like, I thought we've done this already in the first film. But then we follow him trying to help Poppy on her adventure, how he was kind of just nagging along the way, which he did in the first film, which worked better with his character because that was him coming around and opening up. This time around in this film, it felt repetitive, annoying as well, where it's like, come on, we've done the nagging thing before. So yeah, Poppy and Branch weren't as fun. They weren't really blowing my mind with their story and their character growth. And I guess Branch really had no growth at all, to be honest. And then Poppy, her growth would be, like, I guess, to listen to advice and to accept that you don't have to be all the same, which technically didn't even really come from her character at all with that message. It's weird. And I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but like, okay, the main message of this film is that it's okay to have differences. You don't all have to feel the same way, be the same way, which in hindsight is kind of, that's a conflicting point of view compared to the first film, because that one seemed that you had to be happy. This one's like, we can be different, and our differences make us beautiful. So it conflicts with one another. It's kind of weird. But yeah, going back to Poppy and Branch, they didn't blow my mind. They were just kind of there to carry the story along. And to me, it's like, whatever, they're good enough for me to go along with them and see the world. That's the thing I want to see. That's what I am interested in, is seeing what different parts of the map they go to. Oh, this one got me really big. This isn't really as much of a complaint as it is a suggestion. So there are moments in this film where there are music battles, where you have the rock and roll trolls playing their music and like there's energy that comes out and destroys stuff. It reminded me a lot of Scott Pilgrim and how there would be music battles in that movie and how it would make itself, like it would manifest in actual like creatures or attacks or whatever. I was so hoping that would happen more often in Trolls World Tour, where there'd be like, okay, funk is now going to fight with rock and roll, or classic's going to fight with rock and roll, or whatever. But they kind of allude to it, like, okay, it might happen, or it did happen, but then they pull you right away from it. And I'm like, no, I want to see these different kingdoms battle it out with their music. That would have been so neat. They were like building up to that for the funk trolls. Didn't happen. The classic trolls armed up, instantly lost. I just wanted to see more of that. I think that could have been a really creative way to show abstract energy and battles through music like Scott Pilgrim did. But in this movie, where I think it would have been very appropriate to do so, like to have the pop trolls doing their songs and going back and forth in a music battle with the rock and roll trolls, that would have been amazing. But it did not happen really. It kind of was hinted at, and they kind of did a little bit of it, but not nearly enough to justify the idea, as in like, justified as in like, we had the idea, that was the plan, and we followed through with it. It's like, no, you hinted at it, and that was really about it. One last problem with the story. I have a gripe with Barb and her, I guess her entire quest for herself. Because again, she wanted all 6 of these strings so she can make all of the world of trolls to make it all rock and roll. Now, there is a twist in the movie, and I guess, again, spoilers, so for those who don't want to hear it, you've got like, just come back in 20 seconds. We discover that pop trolls once took all of the strings and took over the world and almost conquered it with their music, and then the rest of the trolls were like, we're taking our strings away because we can't let this happen ever again. So it's like, okay, pop trolls once did this. That was a revelation for Poppy to go, oh my God, we did that. And then you have Barb, who's doing the same thing, yet she resents the pop trolls saying, oh, you're the worst because you did that. And it's like, Barb, you're doing that. I wish they would have had her going, oh, I know you pop trolls did that, but we're gonna do it now, rock and roll, and we're gonna do it right. We're gonna actually complete it because you all failed, and we'll do it right. So I don't know. It sounded like she was like, you pop trolls are no good for what you did. Now watch me as I do the exact same thing. So that was kind of confusing. Visually, I would say there isn't anything that I dislike. I like this film. As far as the animation goes, I think it's well designed. I think it's fun. Some of the troll characters look a bit like they're designed for merchandise. Like, we have to make this really fun for kids to buy. Tiny Diamond, you cannot tell me that that wasn't the result of Baby Yoda and the baby trend going on right now. So that one was, I thought Tiny Diamond would be a lot more annoying. Like, I thought he'd be like incredibly frustrating, and it's like, oh my God, stop pushing him. But he wasn't in the film as much as I thought. But I'll tell you this though, because I looked on Amazon to see what kind of toys there were. Oh, they're pushing him. They are pushing him hard. Again, that's another reason why I think that this film was released the way it was, because they had merchandise ready to go and they're like, move forward, let's go. So overall, in conclusion, I think this film is lighthearted. It's got really bouncy energy and color and visuals. The tone of it is rapid fire and kind of hyperactive at times. But I imagine that's because this film knows that its audience are mostly children, parents and their kids. And in that regard, they wanted to make sure the kids were entertained and had lots of fun, bouncy things going on to hold their attention. Now, as an adult, I watch this and I'm like, okay, the energy can be a bit much at times. The humor is a bit lowbrow at times. Not like fart jokes. There's the occasional butt joke, but there wasn't like, the humor wasn't like, I would say, obnoxious, just very in your face, hyperactive, rapid fire stuff. And that's forgivable. because there's enough in this film to make up for it with like the cultures of the trolls, the animation and the textures of the world. That stuff right there. That was my favorite part about the film, hands down. Now, again, the characters and the overall story itself didn't make me cry. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't insanely compelling or really gripping me, but it was enough to hold my attention. It's, again, this film wasn't intended for an older audience. It's not like a movie like Zootopia where it's like kids can also enjoy this, but we have a story going on that will also hold the attention of adults. The entire story and message behind the film being that differences make us beautiful. We all don't have to be one single thing. And also, don't get tunnel vision. Try to open your mind to other people and what they tell you. Those messages are fine. It wasn't really revealed in a way where it's like, whoa, you really taught me something here, movie. Wow, you told the story so well. It's more of, oh, that's the story. That's today's lesson from our 1990s cartoon G.I. Joe or whatever, saying, here's today's PSA. But long story short, this film, I liked it. I didn't love it. There's really good things about it. There are things that kind of drag it down. Overall, I give it a 6 out of 10. And I'd say if you're stuck at home, then, give it a watch. Is it worth the $20? I guess that's up to you to decide. To me, I was like, yeah, I guess. So whatever. What a time to be alive, right? I do truly wonder what's going to happen for the rest of this year with films. Like, how about this? Sonic the Hedgehog is the second highest grossing film of the year. Right behind, I think it was Bad Boys for Life. So yeah, what timeline are we in? What a weird time to be alive, to see how the world operates and what's happening. It's just insanity. But I guess that adds some flavor to life now, doesn't it? I say that while people are like losing their jobs. Like, yeah, we're having a great time. That all being said, I hope you all are safe. Thank you all for watching. And yeah, just wish you all the best of luck. And check out Trolls if you want. I thought it was okay. All right, bye.